This is the new Santa Cruz Nomad and it looks amazing. Completely revised, new bike. It's still 170mm travel front and rear, but we've got all new angles and some new features that I'd like to go over as well. So we come to the woods, there's steep stuff, there's bumpy stuff, there's jumps, there's bits where you absolutely need big brakes. So it's the ideal proving ground for a 170mm enduro bike. So top down then, the bike's running 1UP carbon bar, which is one of my favourite carbon bars on the market. Super comfortable, a little bit of give in it, and they look really cool. Maven silvers with the new lever and the new linkage, which I haven't ridden yet. And actually, for me, Maven's always felt a little bit snatchy off the top, and this new lever and leverage system is supposed to kind of cure that. It quells the power at the start, but brings the power up to actually even more power at the end. So quite excited to run those. 1UP stem. Absolutely no issues with that at all. 1UP seat post and lever, fit and forget kind of seat post setup there. The frame, CC carbon. They're not doing a C carbon anymore. C was the lower end, slightly heavier, less stiff carbon that Santa Cruz made. They're not doing that on this model. They're just, all models are getting CC, the posh carbon. It's got a brand new cupboard with a revised latch system. I think they had some issues with the previous one, rattling or coming loose. That's been completely revised. Angles are revised, so we've got longer chainstay, steeper seat tube, head angle stays the same, reach stays the same. So just some small little revisions to bring the Nomad's mould more into the sort of modern angles. Brand new Fox 38, quite excited to film that. It's got the new air spring that comes in the podium fork. All new top cap, some new damper features and some completely redesigned arch. So that'll be cool to ride, especially coming off the podium. I always found the 38 a little bit stiff, especially mid-stroke. It felt like it was binding up a bit. With this new air spring, this fork shouldn't do that. So that might be a really cool feature on the bike. Reserve carbon wheels, absolute staple. Maxxis tyres in double down, which is perfect for this bike. Fox DHX2 rear shock in a coil, which I rode on the Bullet last year and it was superb. I haven't ridden it since, so I'm quite excited to ride that. Shimano drivetrain, this is the Wireless XT, which I haven't had too much time on, but just riding here from the car park feels spot on. The lever action, the way the lever works is actually really nice. I think I prefer that over the SRAM. And initial thoughts are, it looks awesome. It's exactly how a Nomad should look. Bright colourway, which is actually a nod towards a previous Nomad colour that came out, I think the Mark III. It melted the internet when it came out, and this was the colour. So a big bike with big travel should always, in my opinion, be loud, shouty, punchy colours, and this is exactly that. There are more subtle colours as well if you're not into that, but I quite like this. It's a bit shred signally, isn't it? And enough about that. Let's go riding. Let's roll into this one, take it easy, see what the bike can do. Quite tight there actually. Whoa, big stick. God, it's sprightly. And I don't know where I'm going. What's over here? Oh, big bog. Big in the bog. God, I feel a bit novice. new bike, not ridden for ages. That felt really good. No complaints. So this is a long travel enduro bike, free ride bike, whatever you want to call it, but it's now got steeper seat tube, which means it should be a bit more comfortable seated. Some would say that the enduro bike category is a bit of a tricky category now for bike shops and for customers trying to figure out what bike to buy, but they really are do-it-all bikes now. And on a bike like this, with where the angles are all modern and nice, they actually climb really well. And there is a bit of a resurgence in enduro racing in the UK, more like the big weekend away style single events. But to be honest, you could probably do those on this bike and downhill races as well. Take a chiller. That's better. Much better. Watch the stump. That's a better line. Whoa, that's a cool track. The new 38 is phenomenal. It feels just like the Podium. Maybe a little bit more, obviously a little stiffer, but in terms of like the action of the fork, feels way better than the old one. Much better. Like I say, it's got revised air spring, the glide core air spring, and it's got this new top cap that makes the fork more linear as well. So technically you can utilize the volume spacers better on this fork than the previous one. Starting to get a bit more used to the bike. Feels much stiffer than the Orbea Rallon, which is probably a comparable bike. But you definitely feel the stiffness of the Fox 38, and the bike is set up quite stiff. It's got a 500-pound spring, which is probably a bit too stiff for me. I guess a little stats check, I'm 80 kilos, I'm 5'10" and a bit. This is a large, which fits me perfect, 475mm reach, so same as the old Nomad, or the previous Nomad, pretty similar to the Rallon. But yeah, just getting to grips with it. Whoa. Oh, I'm tired now. It's very classic Santa Cruz feel. Poppy, light, playful feeling. It's definitely a lot stiffer than the bikes I've been riding over the last year or so, and you definitely feel that. So I did just go over the bike and double check. It's probably a little bit sprung a bit too hard for me. And I did take some pressure out the tyres, so that's always like the fundamental checks. If you're feeling a bike's feeling a bit stiff, go to tyre pressure, and they were a bit high. So it's grippy, playful, fast. It climbs much better than the previous model, thanks to the steeper seat tube. Feels really light, really responsive. Just classic long travel Santa Cruz. But there we go, Santa Cruz Nomad. Absolute class bike. Perfect downhill shredder, enduro, free ride bike. And I'm going to go have another lap.